I cannot believe we're talking about animal torture in 2018 in general, but especially when it relates to the auto industry, and especially this, as you can see, I have a logo of Volkswagen, because them and Mercedes-Benz, or Daimler, the parent company of Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Bosch, the auto supplier company that's also going into the self-driving technology business, they have sponsored this study. Back in 2014, this was uncovered by New York Times, where they used monkeys to test the effects of gasoline fuels, well, on animals and therefore people. And this is considered to be animal torture, obviously, because they're also, poisoning them and so forth. By the way, after yesterday's stream, I'm not really sure where some of you guys stand. So can we agree that animal testing, for at least this purposes, is bad? Can you guys just type that into the chat room? Bad or good? If you're watching in the replay, maybe I'd like to see some comments, just so we have established some common ground, which I think we failed to do yesterday. So now. Here's the thing, and the reason I put a picture of Volkswagen and not exactly all of them, which I kind of probably should have. Now, Volkswagen, back in 2014, was already in the middle of major cheating campaign, as you know, when they were basically rigging the system. They made their software so that when it senses that you're trying to test the car for how much fumes it's actually releasing, it switches to this mode where it's fooling the system, and you pass the smoke test, and the car appears to be very green. But they got caught, and they now had to pay billions of dollars in retributions, if you will. But so while they were doing this animal testing, right, while they were torturing animals, they were already using the car that was rigged and cheating with their fume reading. So it is so this is a double whammy, if you ask me. Now, Mercedes-Benz was also in the middle of this weird story last year where they caught cheating. They rented a Model X, Tesla Model X, from the family-owned business, took it out for a really hard test drive on their racing track, on their headquarters, I believe, on their location, and then took it apart and put it together, and argued that that never happened, even though they got caught being tracked by GPS. So, and then there's BMW and Bosch. And, here's the thing. I don't want to overreact because this is a story that's just coming out today, really. I know they reported about it last week, but I think it's kind of blowing up today. And let me know, do you think that this is true? If all of these companies really knew what was happening, do you think this deserves a boycott from our community as consumers? I mean, we are talking about, this is not even cheating. This is, animal torture. It looks like people are saying that it is bad. Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page about animal torture. Good. By the way, I designed this t-shirt. The reason I'm wearing this t-shirt today, I designed it as sort of a joke, right? Because I thought it was a funny t-shirt for electric car community. But it is kind of sad today, right? I mean, it just reminds us that the oil industry and even the automakers, can be evil, that this become the profits and drives to make billions and billions of dollars, and greed really does have some consequences, on animals and people. So I hope this is investigated. All companies announced that they're launching an investigation. I hope that it's investigated from outside. I know German government got involved as well. I hope people who were in charge of this at the very least get fired. But I'm wondering if it also deserves a boycott from us, I didn't want to say electric car community, but certainly for our community, just from people, just from decent people. Very sad story, guys. I'll continue covering this, but I just thought that it would lead today with this story, because I was when I woke up and looked at my phone with all the stories that I was going to cover, this really made me sad, because I'm an animal lover. I volunteer for animal shelters. I donate monthly to animal causes. So this makes me very sad. And, Volkswagen really at some point needs to be blown up, and they need to start cheating and doing evil things. But again, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Bosch are all involved. Let's see. DRK in the chat room says they unfortunately never seem to find a new low. You try to give them a chance, and then this. Yeah, I mean, it looks like that Volkswagen was turning around, and then this. I agree. It's a shame. Guys, I gotta move on to the next stories because we have also a full day of news. Let me remind you really quick, this show and this channel is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. If you're looking to shop with them, please go ahead and grab your own a discount code that they've created specifically for this community before you do that, so you can save a few bucks. Let me move on to another story that's coming out of here in California. You know, we've been we've tried to be pretty progressive on green energy and electric cars and everything. I'm not sure if we're doing as good as of a job as we can. Now, this week, California announced a new deal that they're trying to get to 5 million electric cars on the road by 2030 and 250,000 charging stations by 2030. Now, that announcement didn't come with increasing of incentives for car buyers. So right now in California, we have $2,500 that you get as a rebate check when you buy an electric car that qualifies. Sometimes it's less depending on the battery size, but they didn't increase that. Some people expected that it was maybe $5,000 or even $10,000 to incentivize this. After all, they're putting $2.5 billion into this. 5 million cars on the road by 2030 sounds like, first of all, a very low number compared to the cars that we have here, but also why count? Why not look at the percentage? And to be honest with you, also everybody kind of expected they would simply ban sales of all gas cars by 2030, like a lot of countries are doing. They're looking at 2040, but I think that's kind of a underachieving kind of goal for California. So it's better than nothing. I mean, we didn't have nothing, but it's better than not doing anything on top of what we've been doing. But I have to say, it's certainly disappointing that California haven't done more. Maybe there will be some legislature coming out of our California, from our California lawmakers this year, but we'll see. Also, let me know in the chat room and definitely comment section if you guys think that California can do more. And if so, what is it? Higher rebates, requiring no gas car sales by 2030? Let me know. So that was an interesting story. Let me move on to another story about a Chinese company, Chinese car maker called Xpeng Motors. Now, this is a picture from a video that I made at CES a couple of weeks ago. They were one of the companies on the display. Now, I have a video that I will be releasing on Thursday. This video reporting about that manufacturer at CES. It is a bit of an odd story, I have to say. So check it out. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and click on the subscribe button so you don't miss this and many other videos that I produced, and also become a part of this awesome community. But yeah, so this automaker is they're making cars right now. They're making cars right now, and they were already backed by Alibaba, pretty major big company. But today they've announced that they're getting a second round. I believe it's the second round at $348 million to really ramp up their production, even though they're making it in low volumes right now. But to ramp up their production in China, and now they're also joined by Foxconn. So Foxconn and Alibaba leading the second round of investment for this Chinese company. This car is on the road. A lot of people are calling it a Tesla clone because they took a lot of Tesla designs, I guess, and patents to create this car. I have to say, outside it doesn't really look that much as a Tesla, not at all. Actually, it looks more like a Faraday Future maybe in the back. And again, you can watch this video on Thursday, but by the way, they did not want to talk to me or think any US press here. They were also displaying this car in a different area from where everybody else was displaying their car. It was just odd. Just watch my videos, guys, when it comes out on Thursday. But so now they're gonna ramp up their production. Inside, it does look, some of the parts, some of the design does look like Tesla design, but not close enough. I wouldn't call it a Tesla clone, but nevertheless, also very interesting story. I'm keeping my eye on them, but once again on Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, I'm going to release the video about that. True Financials in the chat room reminds you guys, and I appreciate that, to hit the thumbs up before you leave this video if you're enjoying this broadcast on my channel. That usually helps my video to do well, and I appreciate that. And DRK2, thank you. All right, let me move on to another story. We got a lot of stories today. So I know Elon Musk went to Chile on vacation, but a lot of people speculated there was another reason. I don't know if you guys know that Chile is one of the leading producers for lithium, and Tesla and pretty much everybody else right now using lithium-ion batteries in their electric cars. Now, lithium, I should mention, it's not the a largest component of lithium-ion batteries, but nevertheless, the supply might just struggle because everyone's trying to get in there. Now, but up until now, Tesla kind of let Panasonic do their own thing and, you know, do supply management for this. But now it looks like Tesla is negotiating with Chile's companies, specifically one about kind of a building, maybe even a factory there to make sure that they get the good supply of lithium and there is no supply issues for their gigafactory and for their future cars, just like Model 3 that's going to be ramped up in production. So FB Diesel in chat room says, loving your CES coverage. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I think I have a total of 9 videos. Each one is just dedicated to a company that did some unveiling on something. At least there was a story. I did Byton, I did Fisker, Mercedes-Benz. I released Nissan yesterday. Hyundai, I think, is going to be tomorrow. Then I got Xpeng Motors on Thursday, and on Saturday my interview with Nikki of Transport Evolved. So I kind of a full coverage for you guys, but this videos I'm uploading as separate videos. All right, so by the way, I just want to one of the videos that I have uploaded last night also is the Byton unveiling, kind of the full Byton unveiling presentation with a car rolling out and their CEO talking and stuff like that. It was actually a pretty interesting show. But this video is a thank you for my Patreons, for those who are supporting my channel. If you'd like to join that awesome group of people who are supporting my channel, please see the description of this video. And that's where you also can find a link to where you can buy this shirt, by the way. So thank you guys, and you can enjoy, I believe it's a 40-minute presentation for the media only in Las Vegas that I went to 2 weeks ago. So thank you once again. All right, so we covered Tesla in Chile, we covered Xpeng Motors, California, a new thing with electric cars, and of course animal testing by Volkswagen. So that means right now it's time for my favorite portion of the show, comment of the day. It comes from someone who I think posted like 15 comments yesterday to all of my videos, specifically our 2.5-hour hangout, as we usually do on Sundays. Anti-petrol head is saying, why can people who live in apartment complexes just charge at the nearest supercharger to their home before they go home? It's a very small sacrifice. Now, we were talking about my concern that a lot of people who are looking to buy a Model 3, especially here in Silicon Valley and bigger cities, are going to be hesitant or decide to wait longer, because when you live in an apartment complex or a condo, or even if you're renting, you know, your landlords don't always want to install a charging station, even if you're paying for it. But especially apartment complexes, at least here and from everywhere that I know, are not installing charging stations. They don't have dedicated charging stations. So I see this as a problem. Now, granted, somebody told me on Facebook that on my Facebook broadcast of that video, that only 17% of people in America live in apartment complexes. But in the areas like these where we kind of are first adopters, this is where most Model 3s are going to be sold. A lot of people, including myself, live in condos and apartment complexes. And just renters, you know, there's like a lot of people in the country rent, and not all landlords want to deal with it. So that was the topic. Now, the reason, and a lot of people say, well, it's not a big deal. You don't need to have a charging station at home. And I completely disagree. I mean, people say, oh, yeah, you can go like for example, anti-petrol head here says, well, you can just go to a supercharger. Well, first of all, you have to drive to a supercharger like every other or every 3 days, sometimes every day, like I usually do, meaning that's how often I need to recharge my battery. Then you have to drive. It's not always 2-3 minutes away like a gas station, right? Could be 5 minutes, some cases 20 minutes away, even here in Silicon Valley. Then there might be a line, especially when people coming after work and trying to charge their cars or traveling or whatever. There might be a line. Then you have to sit in your car for 20, 30, 45 minutes sometimes to charge your car, and then you have to drive home however long that is. That can take an hour, hour and a half. That's a lot of time to make sure that your car is fueled. Where if you're driving a gas car, every week or every even 2-3 days, boom, 5 minutes, 10 minutes top if you want to use a bathroom at the gas station. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think people are willing to sacrifice that much of their time and consistently worry about charging their car. The best way right now is just plug it in, 2 seconds, take it out another 3, and you're done. So I think most people like myself prefer that because it doesn't give us any extra hassle or worry or stress about charging our cars. And that's the way to go. But I appreciate the comments. I know that everybody agrees. I know some people just kind of wing it, and that's perfectly fine. It's just my recommendation. So that's what we're We're working. Chris in the chat room makes a good point. People who work, you know, 8, 10, 12 hours days per day these days, and that happens. Who's got time or power to stand for 30 minutes there? And that's 30 minutes at best sometimes. Let's see. All right, guys, we are way over time, I think, right now. So don't forget to watch my videos at CES. One comes out tomorrow, one on Thursday, and of course on Saturday, my interview with Nikki. Thank you once again hanging out with me. I know I always go over time, but so many news. Again, sad news about animal testing. Let me know what you think about it. Other than that, I will see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.